Welcome to the June pay-per-view Battleground. Well, it is up. It is Junior back with Double G Gaming Productions. Um, this pay-per-view is taking place in Sacramento, California. I received a decent amount of views from my last Universe Mode video. Compared to seeing how many subscribers I have. I think the other video that I have like more views than that pay-per-view or that Universe Mode one was that NBA 2k my GM mode, which is getting more views than my career, so maybe I'll stop my career and start with my GM more. Um, Now Chewy is having problems recording videos, and I have a busy schedule where I can't work on more than one video a week. Excuse me. So until December, I won't be able to upload more than one video per week, and whatever, if any, uploads from Chewy. With that out of the way, let's get into the Battleground card main evented by Sting versus Cesaro in a steel cage match for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. We start off with the European Championship on the line. A couple weeks ago, Darren Young got his rematch for the European title and was beaten again by Alberto Del Rio. But the same night, Young brought out his next opponent in ravishing Rick Rude. However, Del Rio was ready for the challenge. When Rude was going to have a match against Baron Corbin, Del Rio came out to watch and do some commentary. The way they have Del Rio in this game, he's so dark. He's darker than like Darren Young in that last match. I noticed he was so dark. And why do they still have those same types? Why don't they have different types for Rick Rude? Like, he's not facing the Ultimate Warrior every single match. But anyway, Del Rio being out there cost Del Rio or Rude because he takes time to mouth off to Del Rio and gets blindsided by Baron Corbin outside of the ring. And it also cost him the match. Actually, I'm not sure if it cost him the match. I don't really remember. It's been in like 2 weeks. The next week, Corbin and Del Rio faced off against Young and Rude. After Young gets attacked and taken out by Corbin, Del Rio picked up the win on Rude but was not finished, sending a message and stomped away at his opponent for Battleground. He was pissed that he came out with Darren Young, saying, "I beat Darren Young, I'll beat you too." So right away we start our card off with Del Rio versus Rude for the European Championship. Which this was a better pay-per-view than the Payback one because the matches lasted a lot longer. So we start off. Del Rio gives Rude a scoop slam, and then a head scissors. Then Rude reverses and gives him a suplex. Then Del Rio gets him with a DDT. There was a lot of DDTs and suplexes in this match. And then Rude repays him with a DDT of his own. Excuse me. Del Rio reverses it into a neck breaker. Del Rio throws him outside and double stomps him on the floor. Del Rio goes outside and comes back and hits that guy with a DDT again. Then Del Rio goes aside again, and Rude tries to follow after, but the referee does not allow him, which allows Del Rio to come in and give him another DDT. Rude sets up the Rude Awakening, and he hits it, but that was not enough to put Del Rio away. Then he gives him a sidewalk slam, or whatever you call that, and then once again Del Rio clotheslines Rick outside the ring and waits for him to come back. And while he catches his breath, Del Rio hits Rude with the backstabber and puts him down for the 1, 2, 3 and the end of the match. That's a really good match, but it was kind of lopsided. So a successful title defense for Alberto Del Rio. Next we have the Intercontinental Championship on the line as we have Bret Hart taking on Finn Balor. Since there was no build-up, I'm only going to show you the end to this match. I might switch it now that Bret Hart won the Intercontinental Championship because he doesn't look right holding that one. I might give him the black one. The one that we have currently in the real WWE, but with the black strap. So anyway, there was no build-up, so Bret Hart just locks in the sharpshooter after a long-ass match. I had to sit down for a year to record this one. He's the sharpshooter for the win, and he is now the new Intercontinental Champion. stay tuned because there's a match later on that will determine his new opponent. Sure, Finn Balor is gonna get a rematch, but at the next pay-per-view is gonna be not Finn Balor. So next we have an elimination tag team match for the World Tag Team titles. Rematch from last pay-per-view, and during the build-up we just had these guys coming out trying to intimidate one another. There you see Enzo and Cass coming out against Earthquake, and now you see the Natural Disasters coming out against Enzo Amore. Nothing really exciting there, but build-up nonetheless. So now we move on to the match. Enzo and Cass are going to try to regain their titles as they take on the Natural Disasters, and the New Day is going to face whoever wins this match at the next pay-per-view. We start off with a big knee from Cass, and then he slams Earthquake down in the corner. Typhoon, who was in the match for a small amount until the end, really, until the, spoiler alert, Earthquake got eliminated first. For a small amount until the end, hits Cass with a body slam followed by a backbreaker, then a choke slam. Enzo comes in and sets up Earthquake on the middle rope and nails him with whatever you call this move. I don't know what you would call that. And he keeps closelining him until he takes him down. Cass comes in and hits a knee again and then an STO. I think that's what you call that move. But Earthquake then slings Cass like a ragdoll across the ring and hits him with his running butt blast. Sit down butt stomp. But cannot finish him. Enzo comes back in and hits a reverse STO. Then a reverse swinging neck breaker. They hit Earthquake with their finisher, but this time Cass is the one flying. But they can't finish it. Then Cass hits his finisher, which I think is called the East River Crossing, and eliminates Earthquake. So now Typhoon, who has most of his health, comes in fresh. And after a double team move, Typhoon is starting to get stunned. And Enzo hits a running. Hold on, he does that move. I don't know what the hell that was called, but he stuns Typhoon, and then he hits a running forearm to knock him out. And next great sequence by Cass takes out Typhoon, but the big guy will still not go down. I'm not talking about Roman Reigns or Ryback here. And then they hit their finisher again on Typhoon, but he still won't go down for the 3 count. Enzo hits this nice stunner on Typhoon, which sends him flying back into the ropes. But Typhoon gets right back up and suplexes Enzo and gives him an ass attack in the corner. And then he just throws him across the ring, which is not enough to take out Enzo. They double team Big Boot him, followed by Cass finisher, which again I think is called the East River Crossing. And that will be all she wrote. And we have new World Tag Team Champions. I think this is their second time winning it. And so Amore and Big Cass will face a New Day at the next month's pay-per-view, which I think is Money in the Bank. So that's a big one. So moving on to our world title match, which did not have a build-up, but it should have. AJ Styles tries to take back the world title after being screwed at Payback. So now if he doesn't win it back, he will go back to being exclusive only to Monday Night Raw. And that's exactly what happens after Kane powerbombs AJ Styles into a locker in this backstage brawl. So Kane retains his World Championship and AJ Styles will go back to Monday Night. Asuka won a Battle Royal to become a new #1 contender for the Women's Championship title. Sasha Banks came out to congratulate her because these two have great respect for one another. And the week after that, they had a tune-up match before Sunday, but Charlotte came out and attacked both before the match could even start. But you see how they had great respect. They shook hands before their match started, even though they didn't really have a match on SmackDown. So now we will have a match between these two great wrestlers for the Women's Championship. The Women's Championship looks different when he holds it up and when she's wearing it. It looks bigger when she wears it compared to when he holds it up. So Sasha starts off strong, but Asuka gives her a suplex, and she starts dominating for a while. Um, excuse me. But Sasha is able to hit her neckbreaker signature, but is unable to pin Asuka. From the top rope, Asuka reverses it and hits a drop kick and nails Bank right in the face. The butt attacks are rampant today as Asuka hits Sasha with a running ass attack again. I don't know what you call that. And then suplex Sasha outside the ring, which does not look like it was soft landing for either of them. Asuka takes advantage of the count and gives Banks a couple of devastating moves outside the ring before finally throwing her ugly ass back in the ring. And once again, Asuka is setting up the ass blast and hits it, which I thought was going to be it, but she kicks out. And then she sets her up for the Asuka lock. And all the damage Banks took in this match is enough to make her tap out. So it was a hard fought match because she escaped from one Asuka lock earlier in the match that I did not show, but two Asuka locks and it is all over. We have a new women's championship in Asuka, and I believe she'll hold it for a long time if today's match showed us anything. We move on to a rivalry that has really brought Rusev to a breaking point. After not having a decision at Payback, these two had another match on Raw, which saw Rusev win, but again Jericho decided that was not good enough and tried to attack Rusev, but Rusev got the upper hand and sends Jericho packing. But because Jericho wasn't done with Rusev after the match, Rusev wanted to dish out some more humiliation in Y2J, attacking him before his match and costing him to lose to The Undertaker. Why is Undertaker on Monday Night Raw but not in any rivalries or pay-per-views? That makes no sense, Universe Mode. So Y2J asks for another match and Rusev says, alright, you got it. During the match, Rusev pretends to walk out in the middle of the match. Remember, he's a face, not a heel anymore. And Chris thinks he finally will walk out with a win, but Rusev was just playing with Jericho and comes back in to attack Jericho and finish the match. He wins the match, and it is announced that at BattleGround there will be a submission match between these two, and the winner will get an Intercontinental Championship match. So now we have some stakes on the line for another rematch between these two guys. A week later, after Rusev wins another match, Jericho comes out looking for another fight before their actual pay-per-view submission match. Rusev agrees and comes out to join Mr. Jericho, Mr. Light Bright, what do they call him? Yeah, Mr. Light Bright Jacket. He joins him on the ramp, and these two go at it. Once again, like they have been for the past 2 months, before eventually referees and security guards come out and break it up. This Sunday, somebody will come out, or today, not Sunday, but today, somebody will come out on top, and this feud will finally come to an end. Maybe this rivalry can be if Jericho or Rusev win the Intercontinental Championship, they can feud again later for the title. That would be really cool. These two charge at each other to start the match. They don't take long to take it outside, and Rusev backdrops Jericho onto a chair. Jericho then gives Rusev a petted bomb backbreaker. I don't know what the move is called, but that's all those rolled into one. Rusev tries to use the chair, but the referee takes it from him, which allows Chris to suplex Rusev and apply the walls to Jericho. But Rusev still has plenty in him. A Samoan drop by Rusev allows him to apply a modified crossface, but Y2J is able to get out of it. Then a power bomb hit by Jericho onto Rusev sets up Rusev to be put in the Lion Tamer, which is more, which should be able to make a normal man tap out, but Rusev is not a normal man, and he escapes. So then he attempts another waltz of Jericho on Rusev, but he doesn't want to lose after all they've been through. So he wills his way out again. Rusev breaks Jericho's neck in half after a devastating move, and then takes his neck off again after a clothesline that barely connects, but Jericho feels it alright in the corner. Rusev takes it back outside and delivered an Alabama slam on the floor to Jericho, and the back of his head looks like it hit the steel steps. Rusev applies the accolade but releases it when he feels Jericho's about to escape it. Jericho body slams Rusev and hits him with a code breaker, which busts Rusev's head wide open. Rusev is put in a surfboard-like submission hold, but again has enough to get out of it. These two just went at it. Rusev again is bleeding right now. He gives him another suplex, and then hits. And then Rusev tries the running super kick but misses, and Chris takes advantage and locks in a sleeper hold. With all the blood that Rusev has been losing in this match, he is just too much from Jericho, and he is forced to submit with the sleeper hold. And Jericho comes down on top and will receive not only a win over Rusev finally, but a future Intercontinental title match. This rivalry comes to an end, but not before one of these guys ended up seriously hurt. And this might not be the last time we see of each other. Jericho can win the title. These two might come back at each other later on. So now we move on to our main event, but before that, let's see how this match came to be. After putting Ambrose on the injured list, Sting came out, bragging until Triple H came out. He informed him that Sting was in a match with him later, and if he lost, not only would he face the winner of Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, but he would be in a triple threat match at BattleGround against him as well. Luckily, Sting didn't get buried like always, and finally won his match against Triple H, his rematch from WrestleMania 31, which meant he only had one opponent at BattleGround. Cesaro won his match against Seth Rollins, and Sting came out to scout his next opponent. Hope you enjoyed that cough, brought to you by Sting. Triple H, being worried of the same outcome that happened to Cesaro, he made the match a steel cage match to keep both these guys inside the ring. So we see a stipulation here, which is a good stipulation because, you know, if Sting's just gonna break all these guys in half if he's gonna keep doing what he did to Dean Ambrose, to everybody. So making use of the stipulation, Sting throws Cesaro into the steel cage and then hits him with a running DDT. Cesaro gives Sting a rack attack slam looking move and then a suplex. A lot of DDTs, suplexes, and body slams during this pay-per-view. Once again, Sting sends Cesaro flying into the steel, and then Cesaro gets the upper hand and gives Sting a taste of his steel himself. After that, Cesaro throws Sting up and he crashes down, but takes an uppercut on the way. Sting tries to escape out of the cage, but Cesaro catches him halfway up and brings him crashing down, which is enough to take Sting out, and Cesaro makes his way out of the steel cage for the win. However, the referee did not end up handing Cesaro the championship. So we'll see what happens next on why that was. So that was it for the BattleGround pay-per-view. Tune in next time for, I'm pretty sure it's the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, where we'll see New Day versus Enzo and Cass for the tag titles, Jericho versus Bret Hart for the Intercontinental Championship. We'll see if Sasha gets a rematch for the women's title, and how this World Championship storyline plays out. So yeah, it's probably not going to be out next week because I'm going to upload either an NBA gameplay or my first Madden gameplay, because I just got that game now. I just bought Madden 17, so I might give you a Madden 17 gameplay or an NBA gameplay, and then another Universe mode will be out in about 2 weeks. But with that being said, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, see y'all motherfucking bitch ass pussy asshole assless later.